crazy day. Actually, the last couple of days were crazy. I'm just waiting for an Uber because I left my car at the Kenworth, and now I drove the truck back here, and now I have to get back to where my car is, right? And so I got up at 5 o'clock today because I wanted to do a lot of things during this day, but I'm getting ready for my next load, and it requires a lot of blocks. So I just spent $300 on these 10 by 10. I bought four hickory blocks, 10 by 10, because I used to be able to get away with the 8-inch like these ones, but after the D-rings I need this. So basically I'm loading a Mackie Novak crane, like the main housing. And after I drop off the truck at the Kenworth, where they were doing a bunch of small things, but also they did oil change, found some leaks, found some chafed brake lines, so it was a good visit. Only cost me $1,300 Canadian, which is always fun, so $1,000 US. And while they were working on that one, I got an Uber and I came here to my yard where I left my car, and I took the car and I drove to take a look at I drove to the Cal Tire to change the wheels because I was still driving with a spare wheel. So they did that, didn't charge me any money. They said no charge this time. And then once that was done, I called the shipper where I'm loading tomorrow nearby. I said, can I look at the crane? I want to double check the measurements before I order permits, you know. Oh, this guy is here. That's my Uber guy. Okay, let's continue in a second. Okay, I'm in my car. The guy just left. Very nice driver, but he says he's based in Kitchener. He had no idea which way to go, and his navigation thingy was sending him in the wrong direction. Well, like there's no ramp anymore at Franklin Boulevard in Cambridge. They demolished the bridge. They're fixing the bridge. But anyway, what I started to say that today was a very interesting and full day, right? So okay, so I picked up my car. While I waited for the car, I noticed they had these cool Mac Anthem trucks at the body shop of Cambridge Mac, you know, just I don't know, couple of blocks away from the Cal Tire where my car was. And so I told them, I said, "Well, you guys fixing this? I'll be right." I said, "I'll be back. I'll just go for a walk." And so I grabbed my Nikon D810 and 24mm 1.8 and went and took some nice shots. I put them in a separate video. I think, you know, the trucks look cool, you know, especially when they're new and it's like white and black. So very nice. And then by the time I came back, my car was ready. They said no charge. Love you, Cal Tire guys. Thank you very much. And so then I think I went for lunch. Yeah, and then I called. So I called the shipper. I said, "Can I come and take a look?" And so the guy says, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So I drove there in my car and look at this crane, and that's exactly pretty much the crane I did I think 2 years ago when I moved it from London, Ontario to Peterborough, Ontario. Back then I had Kaufman trailer, and I look at this, and the thing is, this crane, like everything is removed already. Like they used a bunch of trucks, like it's basically the last part of the load. There's no tracks, there's no boom. No, this is like a small part of the boom that they could not remove, but basically it's the main unit, like the house, you know, with the cab, where the engine is, where the operator sits. And this thing has it's so heavy that the way they load it, it has hydraulic legs, you know, like special hydraulic legs. So this thing just sits on the ground on 4 hydraulic legs with the, you know, round support thingy at the bottom. And the way they do it, the way they load it is I linked that video at the end of this one, like, so you can see. I linked, that was in January. I know it was January or February. It was very cold in winter when I was doing that one. It was took whole day because I was waiting there till they loaded other trucks. So they were basically, as I was waiting, they were dismantling that crane, you know, like the tracks, the boom. But this one is all ready. This one, everything is removed. I don't have to wait for anybody. And so I measured it, double checked the dimensions, the height, the width, and most importantly, I just looked at it, you know. And the guy that was there, I showed him the picture of my trailer because I came in my car, right? I said, "You think this should work, right?" And the guy says, "Yeah, no problem. Just, you know, we're gonna block it up like blocks, you know, use blocks." And as I'm thinking, okay, like how many blocks I have left? I remember that I lost one block. It was broken during one of the previous loads, you know. And so now I have these 2 new boards that I paid $150 US for, outrigger boards. And then I have some, now I counted, I do have 4 blocks, but they're all 8x8, right? So it's not gonna cut it because I have D-rings on the central beams, you know. And so I went back to Starbucks in Kitchener, close to this Kenworth dealer, because they are right on the edge between Cambridge and Kitchener. It's like our little tri-city area, Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, and we are all west, about half an hour west of Toronto. And so there's a plaza over there with a movie theater, a big bookstore, Chapters or Indigo, and Starbucks. And so, of course, they have free Wi-Fi. So I went there and I did my Michigan permit request, sent it to my company. So that's done. That's now in the works. And then I put my PAPS sticker. There's a, grab this, and oh, and I came back here, grab this from my truck, these stickers over here, and went to Staples and printed out of the customs invoice that the broker sent me, and slapped this sticker, fill out a couple of lines of text in there, added a couple of lines of text, you know, they want to see like what time you arrive, where you cross, your truck number, and your telephone number, and send it to the broker. And then I sent an email and sent it to the customs broker. But then I sent an email to the freight broker. I said, hey, I went to the shipper in my car and I double checked the measurements. I said, I think it's wider than 910, right? And this is the guy that I mentioned in the previous video, though. Actually, this is the load that I didn't want to do, right? Because the guy was arguing with me from day one. Oh, why are you charging so much? You know, this is, you know, 7 axle load, 2 permits. And it's 3 permits, you know. It's Ontario, the bridge, and Michigan. And it's not 7 axles. It's 7 axles if you have a light truck. If you have a truck like mine, it's 8 axles because I'm gonna be 140,000 pounds. Okay. So the bridge is $200, right? 160. The Ontario extra permit is 160, and Michigan will be probably $50. That's US. And so then I started thinking, like, what they do about the blocks, you know, about timbers. It's a serious piece of equipment, this crane, you know. And I called the shipper. I said, because it's a rigging company, and they also own a trucking company, right? And I asked him, by the way, guys, why you didn't do it yourself, you know? And he says, well, everything else is already moved. This is the last load, the last part of this load. And he says, because they didn't want to pay what we asked for. He says they were too cheap. The customer was too cheap. And I'm like, oh, shoot, you know? Like, it's not very good to hear something like that, you know? Basically, the guy is telling me that I'm an idiot, right? Well, not an idiot, but they rejected this job, and now kind of like outside carriers like me are doing this, you know? And then this guy says, all people show up and they have no idea what it is. They don't have the right equipment. And he says, and I said, I did this before. I said, I did this crane before. And he says, okay. But so, yeah, I called him. I said, you guys sell any hardwood by any chance? Since you're a rigging company, right? I'll buy it from you, right? And he, no, we don't sell anything. Okay, so I started looking on Google Maps. You know, Sawmill Ontario, Sawmill Cambridge, Sawmill Hardwood. And they're all over the place, but it's already like 4 o'clock, you know? And they want me to load 7 a.m. tomorrow. And in Russia, we have a saying, proverb, which in Russian sounds like this. Язык до Киева доведет. Язык до Киева доведет. Don't ask me what it means. I have no idea myself, but I know a general sense is that basically if you keep asking questions, you will get results. So if you don't know something, ask. And so when I went to pay my bill here at the KENWORTH, I'm just pointing that way because that's the entrance to the service department. So I went in there and I'm paying the bill, and I said, guys, by the way, you buy any timbers for yourself, like for your shop maybe, you know, to block something? And the service advisor says, are you trying to sell some timbers? I said, no, I'm trying to buy timbers. He says, oh. And he looked at other guys over there behind the counter. He says, you guys know where he can get any timbers? And I'm like, this is hopeless, you know? Like, why would a technician at a truck store, you don't know this answer, right? Actually, one guy says, what is it you're gonna use this, you know, hardwood for? I said, well, I'm picking up a crane. I need blocks so that the crane sits on them, right? Because I have this drop side rail trailer. So he says, how big pieces are you looking for? I said, well, 10 by 10, like square, maybe a couple of feet long. And he says, A&M specialty. I said, what? A&M specialty wood. He says, I used to work for them. Can you believe this? A&M specialty wood. I said, you know, you have their phone number by any chance? So the address, he says, no. He says, look it up. All right, I look it up on my phone. Boom, right away it shows up and searches A&M wood. Turns out, like, I was searching for a place like this all over, right? And they're right smack in Cambridge, you know? Very inconspicuous. It's like a warehouse and there's like lots of wood outside, you know? And so I called them and I said, hey, you guys have any hardwood that you can make like big blocks out of? And the guy says, yeah. What size are you looking for? I said, well, 10 by 10, I don't know, 1.5, 2 feet long. He says, hold on, I'll call you back. Let me go check in the back. He goes check, calls me back. He says, yeah, we can give you up to 5 blocks. And I said, all right, how much are they? He says, 75 bucks Canadian. So 75 bucks Canadian, that's roughly, I don't know, 62, 63 US, you know, pretty expensive, right? For a block like, you know, like this size, you know. But it's serious serious hardwood, you know. It's like impossible to, you cannot buy it at Home Depot. Like, you have to know a sawmill. Basically, you have to know people, right? And I'm in a rush, I need this. And I said, shoot. And I was here, it was like 4:40, 20 to 5, and they're closing at 5. And these guys over here made me, you know, usually I keep my gooseneck in the back when I do something with the truck, right? I just disconnect the trailer. It takes me like 30 seconds, right? What? I think my battery is getting weak. No, I think we're still recording. Yeah, so basically, yeah, it was $300 with tax. So he took my Visa over the phone, and then he says we can leave them outside, and you can come by when you here, just pick them up, you know. And so it took me a while to reconnect to my trailer with the gooseneck and stuff, and then I drove down there, loaded them on my trailer, and now I'm all ready for tomorrow. So tomorrow, I'll try to make sure all my cameras are charged, and we'll try to do a loading video tomorrow. So stay tuned. And here once again the pictures of the Mac Anthem. Ciao.